A speculative bit of the show tonight. This is very speculative. So the New Patriotic Party, as far as its rules are concerned, they always have to elect a flag bearer. When they are in power, they elect the flag bearer not more than 12 months before the next election. When they are not in power, they elect the flag bearer 24 months before the next election. So the flag bearer election has to be taken at least 1 year before December 7th, 2024. As we understand it, that election will occur in November. But there's one layer to cross before we get there. As far as the New Patriotic Party rules are concerned, and this came about as a result of the 2007 debacle, if you like. In 2007, 17 members of the New Patriotic Party, 17 senior members of the party, challenged, as it was then, Nana Akufo-Addo, the obvious front runner, as he then was, in what was a feisty Congress, which had Nana Akufo-Addo and Alan Kyerematen ready to go into the second round, and Alan Kyerematen conceded defeat to Nana Akufo-Addo, and Nana Akufo-Addo became the elected NPP flag bearer without a second round occurring. After that, the NPP people sat together and felt that they needed something to change here. So they needed to change the number of people who attend the Congress, not attend to vote, but attend to present themselves. Okay, so they decided that 5 is enough. 5 is a maximum number that you can deal with. Therefore, at any point in time in the future, when their delegates list or their aspirant list is more than 5, they will hold a mini Congress. And in the mini Congress, not all the people will vote. So in the NPP Congress, as it is now with the NDC, it didn't used to be. The NPP Congress, the people who are voting are the polling station executives. There are 38,000 polling stations across the country. So that brings the number to something like 200,000 and over. 38,000 polling station executives, regional chairmen, regional executives, members of parliament, former ministers if they are not in power, ministers if they are in power, a former president if they are not in power, presidents when they are in power. All of those people make the number 200,000 and over. Now, the super delegates are about a little over 1,000. Now, who are the super delegates? They are going to make the decision of who comes into the last 5. So we know that list of 10 of the NPP members. I don't know whether they still have it, but we know we can run through it. It's Dr. Bawumia, Alan Kyerematen, Kennedy Agyapong, Usofri Akoto, Kwabena Agyapong, Boakye Agyapong, Opoku. Remind me, Michael. I said Boakye Agyapong. I've said Kwabena Agyapong already. Adainimo, thank you very much. And who else? Usofri Akoto, I've said that already. Okay, well, you know them. You said
Joe Garte.
Yeah. Who?
Joe Garte.
Joe Garte, very important. I didn't mention Joe Garte. Joe Garte is part of it as well. Okay, so that's it. They have 10. So they are now going to select in Parliament. Well, not in Parliament. They are going to select for the super delegates. They are going to reduce the number to 5. The people who are voting in the super delegates are very, very strategic. So it includes all the 137 members of Parliament, and it includes all ministers. And it also includes the president, the vice president, and the chief of staff. Okay. Tonight, we're going to share with you our idea from what we have picked up on our research, and we may be wrong. I mean, this is very subjective. We may be wrong. But we'll tell you why we say this person is going to vote for that person. We'll explain to you. And then you can send a text and tell us what you think. So we begin with the logo of the New Patriotic Party, blue, white, and red. Then Nana Akufo-Addo is the president. He has a vote in the super delegates. We're talking about the super delegates events occurring on the 26th of August. He has said that he's not supporting any particular candidate. We therefore do not know, we cannot fathom who he's going to vote for, but we know that he's going to cast a vote, but we don't know who he's going to vote for. So Adom-Otchere is a member of parliament for Etiwa constituency, Eastern region, and she will be casting her vote, no doubt, for Alan Kyerematen. Okay. This is Okaikwe Central constituency. My good friend, Patrick Bawumia will be casting his vote for Alan Kyerematen. Okay. All right, let's move on. Hohoe constituency, Volta region, John Peter Mewu, and no doubt, John Peter Mewu will be casting his vote for Alan Kyerematen. Okay. Next one is Tema West constituency, and we are dealing with 137 members of parliament. And I'm telling you so far that these people are going to vote for Alan Kyerematen. 1, Adom-Otchere, Patrick Bawumia. 2, John Peter Mewu. 3, they're all going to vote for Alan Kyerematen. Carlos Ahinkra is going to vote for Alan Kyerematen. So I'm showing you that Alan Kyerematen votes, okay? Carlos was deputy to Alan at Trade Minister. He liked the work Alan did. He's very enamored of Alan Kyerematen. I believe that he's going to vote for him. We may be wrong, it's subjective, but this is the reason why we're saying Carlos in particular will vote for Alan. Okay, let's move on. Subi constituency is Eugene Entry, my friend Eugene Entry. Well, Eugene's one is a 50-50. Well, it's a 60-40, I have to say. 60% of the research indicates to us that Eugene Entry is going to vote for Alan Kyerematen. 40% of the research is telling us that Eugene is changing. And we are not sure how it's going to. But where is he changing towards? They think he's changing towards Dr. Bawumia. So 40% Dr. Bawumia, 60% Alan Kyerematen. Eugene Entry MP for Subin. Okay, let's move on. Agyapong constituency, Eastern region, Mame Dokuya is, we believe, going to vote for Alan Kyerematen as well. And then you have Asokwa constituency MP, Patricia Appiagyei, our mother, Patricia Appiagyei from Asokwa, is also going to vote for Alan Kyerematen. Mind you, we are dealing with 137, and we are isolating those that we think, from our research, will surely go for Alan Kyerematen. Okay, so that's Patricia Appiagyei. In Praisto constituency MP, Eastern region, we think he will also vote for Alan Kyerematen. Okay, let's move on. And then we have Lambusi constituency, Upper West region, Bright Baki Yelvi Baliji. We believe that he will also vote for Alan Kyerematen. Okay. You may hear tomorrow them saying that, what did Paul Adom-Otchere say? My vote is secret. I've not decided who I'm going. You may hear all of those things coming up. But we know what we have seen, and we are guessing that they will vote for Alan Kyerematen. Of course, English Shaman, he comes on Good Morning Ghana all the time. I watch him in the morning on Good Morning Ghana. He talks for Alan Kyerematen. So on the basis of that, we know that 100% his vote is for Alan. Okay. Then we have Cynthia Morrison, Central Region, Agona West constituency. We suspect that he will also vote for Alan Kyerematen. All right. Then we have Anyaso Utom constituency, Greater Accra. We suspect that he will also vote for Alan Kyerematen. And then Takwa Nswayim MP, Western Region. This is Deputy Minister of Lands, Duka, Mreku Duka. We believe that he will also vote for Alan Kyerematen. Okay. Then we have Alexander Afenyo-Markin. That's the interesting bit. So our research on Alexander Afenyo-Markin told us that Alexander Afenyo-Markin is an establishment boy, no doubt about it. He's very close relations with the center, with Jubilee. Very, very close relations with Dr. Bawumia and all that. But they are suggesting to us that, not that he thinks Kennedy Agyapong will win. No. Not that he wants Kennedy Agyapong to be presidential candidate as such. Maybe no. But he has this tie with Kennedy Agyapong that people think it will be really incongruous if Afenyo-Markin's one single vote out of 137, that he will not give it to Kennedy Agyapong, even though everybody knows where his... So Afenyo-Markin is... The suspicion is that his mind is different from his heart. And I don't know where the mind is and where the heart is, but it's a 50-50 between Kennedy Agyapong and Dr. Bawumia. That's what we are finding out for Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Is that not interesting? That sounds like very, very interesting. At 25 minutes at the top of that, at 10 o'clock, that's what is happening. And then Kennedy Agyapong himself will vote for Kennedy Agyapong. We know that already. He's a member of parliament, so he'll vote for Kennedy Agyapong. Is there any other one? This is Abura Asebu Kwaman constituency in the central region. We think that he will also vote for Kennedy Agyapong. That's what we are picking up, and we're dealing with 137 members of parliament. And then also Tano North constituency. This is the lady who is now a sanitation. This is Frida Prempeh. Oh, I needed the names, so the names are not here. I need the names. Frida Prempeh will also vote for, well, I was going to do this analysis last Thursday, and then I had Frida Prempeh clearly going towards, it's a Kennedy Agyapong, I think. But having been made Minister for Sanitation right now, people are suggesting to us that she just might change and go along with what people are saying in Parliament. Most of the 137, we understand, are going to vote for Dr. Bawumia anyway. Most of the 137 MPs are going to vote for Dr. Bawumia, except these 13 or 14 that we're isolating, that our research is telling us that they may not vote for Dr. Bawumia. Now, it is good for the NPP in terms of the diversity. And people have talked about how there is a lot of finger pointing and punishment for people who sort of go away from the center. It looks like the NPP center and the NPP soul is thinking Dr. Bawumia at least has a philosophy that is being shared by some of their elders. But those who do not support Dr. Bawumia are going about their work. Now, if you go all the way to the front, where you have a Deputy Minister of Finance, Abna Osasare, who is a Deputy Minister of Finance. She was with Ken Ofori-Atta at the budget presentation the other day. But she also attended the walk for Alan Kyerematen. I believe that for people in the NPP, they shouldn't see that as a negative. That's a big plus, really. It shows the diversity in the party. Nobody's harassing anybody. And when I was talking about this, somebody told me that, oh, you should have been at Peduase the other day. President Akufo-Addo was teasing John Peter Amewu. And he said, JP, you are here. You are supporting Kyerematen. Has anybody done anything to you? And I heard Peter Amewu was laughing and said, Mr. President, no. And I hear JP told Mr. President, you also have to come on board and support Kyerematen because he's going to win. Apparently that erupted a lot of laughter at Peduase and everybody was laughing. And the president said, no problem. You have more convincing to do for me and your colleagues. But JP is Kyerematen, sits in the cabinet. There's no problem. The president points out to him, he points back to the president that you should support our campaign. And everybody is laughing. That's a spirit of diversity. And that's working. Look at Alexander Afenyo-Markin. He has a relationship with Kennedy Agyapong. He's not going to diss Kennedy Agyapong. I mean, maybe he will not. But there are 137 votes up for grabs. If he decides to show his loyalty by selecting Kennedy Agyapong for the process, that he's done his loyalty to his friend. So I like that, but not everyone likes that. But I like that. I think that is creating diversity. If all our political parties should allow people to have a freedom of expression within internal party politics, it's not a problem. If I think that I'm in the party and I think Kyerematen will win or he should be the elected candidate, it shouldn't mean that the president should not make me a minister. That is why people know that Frida Prempeh is not on the Bawumia bandwagon, and I'm sure people went to the president when he was appointing her as sanitation minister and said that, but why are you appointing her? He's not a Bawumia person. Mr. President must have said, that's not the point. That's not the point. I mean, she can do the work, so put her there. John Peter Amewu is Minister for Railways. Nobody has sacked him. You know, people thought that, once you show your face for another candidate, they'll sack you. I have to credit Akufo-Addo for that kind of tolerance. Often people say many things about Akufo-Addo, but you have to credit him for that kind of tolerance. Whereas he has announced that he's not supporting any candidate, he is not looking for anybody to punish because he supports one candidate or the other. Kennedy Agyapong is parliament. He still goes for meetings and all of that. So this is our take. It's quite interesting and quite controversial, isn't it? Yeah, this Frida Prempeh I was talking to you about. Now, here's Akwesi Akwa as well. Akwesi Akwa too, they said to us that Akwesi Akwa is the honorable member of parliament for Agyapong. But those of you who remember Akwesi Akwa, he was the eternal producer of Kwame Sefakai's Kokroko on Peace FM's morning show. That's Akwesi Akwa. He produced, Sefakai made him quite popular because every morning he would say, Akwesi, now we went, Akwesi Akwa, we went, and all of that, and everybody got to know him. But he's a very diligent, very, very hard-working guy, and I'm sure that Peace FM missed him when he left the production of Kokroko, and now he's a member of parliament for Agyapong. There are suspicions on whether he stands with Dr. Bawumia or he stands with Kyerematen or he stands with Kennedy Agyapong. It's not quite clear. So that's why we put him here. We don't know where he's going to go. Maybe if I call Sefakai tomorrow and say that, Akwesi Akwa, your man, where is he voting? He might tell me. But this is the story of the NPP event occurring on the 6th of August. And then there's Joe Gatti, who is also one of the 137 members of parliament, whose votes is going to himself. Joseph Gatti, the former Attorney General and Railway Minister, will be voting for himself. So he's one of those votes that you cannot count in the Bawumia vote. So there's 137 votes up for grabs in Parliament among the 800 and something. And we are telling you that not all the 137 are going the same way. And we are showing you what we think are the differences that we can talk about now. There may be more differences occurring before the 26th. There may be less. The lobbying is still going on. The campaigning is still going on. People are talking to people. So you may find that some things will change. But this one is not going to change. Joe Gatti will vote for Joe Gatti. He's a member of parliament for Sikado constituency. Very good friend of mine, Uncle Joe. If I had a vote, maybe I'll think about him. But Joe Gatti is voting for Joe Gatti. Kennedy Agyapong is voting for Kennedy Agyapong in parliament. Apart from that, I've given you the list. Patricia PJ and others, they are voting for Alan. Some people are voting for Kennedy. But if you take all those 15 out and you subtract the 15 from the 137, our notes is beginning to indicate that majority of the members of parliament outside the names that we have mentioned are going to be voting for Dr. Bawumia on the 26th of August, wherever they may be. I don't know whether they will vote at headquarters or they will vote in some region or the other region.